Greetings, fellow mortals. You know what? I should have known that a video game about a cat would eventually take the gaming world by storm. Even I was interested when I heard Stray being announced to the world. I love animals. Not enough to join PETA or anything, but who doesn't want to pet a cat or a dog when you come across them? That's what this game feels like. It feels like stopping to pet a friendly cat for a short period of time. It's not a long experience, but I found it to be oddly satisfying. Perhaps it's a bit too expensive. $30 feels a bit too steep for my taste, but I haven't heard many people complain about the price. So maybe I'm just an idiot. But I can see why so many people like this game. It's about a cute cat in a post-apocalyptic world. Like I said, I love animals. Not enough to become a vegetarian or a vegan. I'm just not strong enough to overcome the fact that we evolved to eat meat. More power to you if you're a fully grown adult that can actively make that choice. I wish you luck on getting the amount of protein you would need because our bodies evolved to have an omnivore diet. One day, I believe we'll be able to clone meat cheaply. No one will have to think about the fact that a hamburger used to have a face. Unless we go down the Soylent Green route. At this point in this insane clown world, I wouldn't be surprised if I saw an article or two about that idea. Anyway, back to Stray. I don't know if the developers intended for me to think about it, but Stray made me consider the morality of pets. It's not like it was too deep of a mental dive. I was struck by a random thought because of this game. I looked at this tiny cat in this post-apocalyptic robot-run world and realized the fact that the player cat should be a giant beast made up of pure muscle and fur, rather than a house pet that would have had its front claws removed. In another life, the cat would have been a mountain lion ready to destroy everything in its path. Now that would have been a very different game. It's weird to think about. My dog is a 30-pound wimp that starts to freak out when I take her on a walk during trash day. She looks at all the garbage cans lining the streets and begins to freak out. She's a ball of anxiety. If she ever ran away, I'm convinced that she would die because she would panic because of a loud noise and then run straight into traffic. I love her, but she has no survival instincts at this point. Sometimes she doesn't even want to eat and drink because her bowls are only halfway full. I blame my wife. She got the dog right after we started dating, so she trained the poor thing. No. I take my share of the blame. I spoil my puppers way too much. It's not like I've tried too hard to train everything out of her. I did not try to get her to be less scared of trash cans like I did with fire hydrants, parked cars, grills, sprinklers, people riding their bikes, other dogs, basically anything that moves, and some things that don't move. The reason being is because I'm not going to make my dog smell the trash cans and stand by them for several minutes at a time just to make sure she's less afraid of them. So that one's there to stay. Besides, it's not like my dog will ever have to live without me to take care of her. My wife and I have a pet. It's not like we're raising a child that needs to find their place in the world. But Stray did make me realize a factor to humanity that I hadn't considered before now. Eventually, humanity will come to an end, whether it be when the universe inevitably collapses in on itself or long before that. There will eventually be a time where humanity is extinct. But what about those that rely on us? Pets are our best friends. They rely on us in every single way, and we actively encourage this behavior. If all humans randomly disappeared like we got snapped by Thanos, the pets that we raised would be in serious trouble. Stray shows what it would be like to be a house cat in a world post-humans. Like with the AI that make up the city, the cat has to face the consequences of humanity. Our decisions not only domesticated the feline, it put the animal into a world that would be more dangerous for it than if we never even existed. A lot of what Stray focuses on are the echoes of our consequences. Robots and pets might very well be our legacy in the future. Now, I'm no animal or environmental activist. I don't claim to be better than anyone. I do try to recycle, minimize my driving when possible, and avoid using unnecessary electricity. It helps that it's actually financially beneficial for me to do all these things. That's a positive at least. But I do acknowledge that I create my own carbon footprint. And I unfortunately don't care too much about it most of the time. Because what am I supposed to do about it personally other than the things that I'm already doing? In fact, most people that I know personally do these things. The problem is that just existing places a burden on the planet. But it's not like I'm cynical enough to start declaring that people need to die. I don't want to snap people out of existence, which is what celebrities and politicians seem to be dancing around when they talk about this stuff. They fully embrace the subtlety of don't look up, which is to say, none at all. I get it. There's not a person that I know in real life that doesn't acknowledge and complain about climate change. Despite what our supposed betters think, we're not ignorant sinners that need to repent and throw everything away that we actively need in order to function in modern society. Living without electricity, cars, plastic, cardboard, or even phones is impossible in America unless you completely go off the grid. I'm required to consume in order to survive. I get that. So I'm not going to scream at people for just trying to live by the rules that were made for them. I'm not a politician or a celebrity that will lament about our current climate difficulties and then party on a private jet or yacht while actively polluting the world that we live in far more than 100 people combined. God only knows how they would react if we did a random lottery about who had to go and then their names got drawn. Instead of thinking like that, I'm a guy that would just like for his dog to be safe and the world to be a nice place when I'm gone. I want animals to be protected. I hate when they're abused. Animals are innocent in all of this, and domesticated pets would be in trouble without us. We have effectively handicapped them by domesticating them. They could survive without us, but it will be a real struggle. And Stray showed this in a beautiful, subtle way without screaming at me about how terrible I am for simply being alive. Instead, it showed me the consequences of my decisions. Stray made me conscious of the fact that my life affects the world in ways that I don't even think about. As I get older, I try to be less cynical and nihilistic. Generally speaking, life in technology does get better as time goes on. People who are a lot smarter than me will find solutions with better renewable energy, more efficient vehicles, and technology that we can't even imagine right now. Perhaps there will eventually be weather machines that can control the climate. It is just chemistry up there after all, but I don't know. There isn't much that I can do on a grand scheme, and it feels like people attempting to preach to the world are the ones making the largest carbon footprints. So instead, I would prefer to focus on the feelings that Stray gave me. I'm going to do what I can in my own life. It's all I can control after all. I'll be nice to the animals that I see. I'll try to limit my impact on the environment. I'll plant a few trees. I'll try to do research into the products that I consume. I'll love my pets and make sure that they're taken care of, because that's really all I can personally do. Take responsibility for my own existence and try to make a positive impact. And I know that's what we're all trying to do in some small way. It's nice that I got all of these thoughts and feelings from a small, enjoyable experience like Stray. Subtle storytelling seems to be dying with each passing moment. Pets, animals, our environment, and even robots are all aspects that will affect our lives. I'm happy that a game can make me have big thoughts without screaming at me. It helped inspire me to be more conscious of our animal friends. It did a lot more than PETA's attempts at video games, that's for sure. Come on, PETA. Can you make it easier to support you by being a bit less crazy? Your cause should be a layup when it comes to messaging. Just show sad pictures of animals. That always works. Thank you so much for watching. If you like my takes on storytelling, please consider subscribing and liking the video. It would really help me out. Also, remember that I'll be self-publishing my novel, Dance of Rose and Death, at the start of 2023. I hope that you will check it out. I appreciate you. Do not despair.